Welcome to Money Muscle Mindset, the podcast designed to motivate and educate you on your journey to financial and fitness success and to develop the mentality needed to achieve your goals. I'm Zay Molina, and in this episode, we're going to talk about how to train your mind like an athlete. Okay, so what does that actually mean? Well, we're going to dive deeper into the mental toughness that elite athletes have when they apply this, to practice, to games, whatever it may be, to help them become the best of the best, right? How can we apply this mental toughness to our finances, to our fitness journey, and everything else that we're trying to achieve in this life, right? So without further ado, let's dive in. So let's first talk about the mindset of an athlete, right? Again, it's that mental toughness, right? It's the ability to stay focused, right? It's the discipline, it's the resilience that people have when it comes to challenges, right? That's the kind of mindset that we need to have when it comes to our financials, when it comes to our fitness, right? We got to push ourselves to achieve the best that we can in those areas. And how do we do it? We continue to push ourselves. We stay resilient. We stay disciplined. We continue to do the things that we need to do in order to achieve that. A few episodes ago, we talked about Kobe Bryant and his work ethic, right? His Mamba mentality is what he called it, right? It was just completely unmatched, right? He'd be getting up at 4 a.m. before everybody else, getting to the gym, putting in an extra workout, right? He'd be the one leaving the gym last, right? After everybody's already left practice, right? He was the one that had that, drive, that unbelievable work ethic that really pushed him to become one of the best NBA players that we've ever seen. And again, it was based around his discipline, his resilience to continue to push himself no matter what. And that's what we got to do in our lives, right? We got to build that mental toughness to say, hey, no matter what's going on in my life, no matter what, I'm trying to achieve, right? I got to do the things that I got to get done, right? I have to build that discipline. I have to push myself to do the things that I don't want to do. I got to break out of my comfort zone. I have to get this done to be able to achieve whatever I want in my finances, whatever I want in my fitness, all the goals that I have in my life. You got to think of your mind just like a muscle, right? You go to the gym, you're working out. What do? You put that muscle under tension, under stress to actually build that muscle, right? Well, at the time, we're tearing it apart. We're bringing those challenges to tear those muscle fibers apart. And then we're using proper nutrition to repair it, to be able to build and grow that muscle, right? That's what we need to do with our mind, guys. We got to put it under challenges. We got to break out of our comfort zone. We got to do things that are going to push ourselves to grow our mindset. Are you putting yourself through intentional challenges to help you grow, right? Maybe you're reading more, right? Maybe you're, taking cold showers. Maybe you're doing something that's just going to push you again out of that comfort zone. That's going to help you grow and develop discipline over time. So really ask yourself, what kind of stress am I putting under myself that's healthy, right? Now, of course, not, we're not talking about bad stress that comes from work or drama or whatever it may be, right? We're talking about intentional stress that's going to help us grow. What am I doing to challenge myself to get to the next level? What am I doing to build mental toughness? And there's actually a model that was developed in 2002 called the 4 C's model. And we can use this to build mental toughness, okay? The 4 C's are control, commitment, challenge, and confidence, okay? So control, commitment, challenge, and confidence, right? So what this means, guys, is control first stands off the ability to control our emotions, to control our actions, control what we do to push ourselves to the next level. So again, ask yourself, what am I doing to grow my business? What am I doing to grow my side hustle? What am I doing to grow bigger muscles and get in better shape, right? Am I going to the gym consistently, right? Am I eating healthy, right? When it comes to my business, am I making my website? Am I doing email marketing, right? Am I doing the little things? Am I making phone calls? What am I doing that's in my control that can help me grow my business or help me get in better shape? But not only that, right? How do I control my emotions when things go right or wrong, right? When things go right, am I celebrating too much and then just giving up on the other things that I need to get done, right? When things go wrong, am I giving up? Am I quitting? Am I getting frustrated, right? Of course, all these emotions are going to come at you, right? But how do you react to that, right? How do you control that, right? When the challenge comes your way and you feel like you have a loss or a setback, right? Do you just give up and completely walk away from everything that you were trying to do? Or do you continue to push yourself? Do you continue to find other routes, other things that you can do to move around this challenge, right? What are you doing to actually control your emotions, control your actions to help you, again, move to the next level? And then the second C, commitment, right? Are you actually committed to your goals? Are you actually putting in the time and effort that's needed to achieve these goals, right? Or is it something that you're just saying, oh, it'd be nice to have, right? We've talked about this plenty of times, right? Stay committed, guys. Understand that, hey, the goals that I have, these are priorities. That's going to help you stay committed to go after them. The third C, challenge, right? We just talked about this a little bit with control, right? But what challenges are you putting yourself under to actually, again, grow and go to the next level, right? Are you breaking out of your comfort zone? And then when unexpected challenges hit you, right? Those losses, those setbacks, again, what are you doing to find ways to overcome them, right? What are you going to do differently to be able to say, okay, this challenge is in my way. How can I move past it? How can I get around it, right? What am I going to do to push myself to grow and develop so I can move past this challenge? And then last but not least, guys, confidence, right? Be confident in your ability to get past that challenge, to be able to control your emotions, to stay committed to your goals, right? Understand that you have the ability to do whatever you want in this life, right? But also keep in mind to stay humble and understand that, yes, you can be confident and go after whatever that you want, but humble enough to know that you can always get better and improve, right? We did an episode on this a while back, right? That's one of my favorite quotes I tell myself, right? Confident enough to know that I can do anything, humble enough to know that I can always get better, right? And that's the idea, right? Be confident, but understand that we can always improve. And using this 4Cs model, keeping these in mind, that's going to help us achieve, the mental toughness that we need to achieve our goals. Okay, so what are some key traits that could really help us dive a little bit deeper into building this mental toughness, right? Well, one of them, guys, I'm going to say this over and over till your ears fall off, right? Discipline over motivation. Understanding that motivation is fleeting. Yes, it's nice to have those spurts of motivation, right? When you wake up in the morning, you actually feel motivated, you want to get stuff done, you feel like going to the gym, you feel like doing the things you need to for your business, for your side hustle, right? Whatever it may be, right? But we understand that those aren't always going to last. Sometimes you're going to feel lazy. You're going to feel that lack of motivation. You're going to want to do other things, go have fun, and, go and enjoy your life, which I'm not saying that's a wrong thing, right? Definitely enjoy life, right? But understand that we still got to be willing to put in the time and effort that we need to achieve our goals, right? So understanding that, yes, sometimes you're going to have to say no to going out. Sometimes you have to say no to eating bad and binge watching Netflix, right? You got to do things that you got to do, right? And that doesn't come from motivation. That comes from building discipline, understanding that, hey, if I really want this goal and I'm committed, I need to make the priority to say, hey, I have to do the things that I want to do, even when I don't want to do them, right? So build those routines, build those schedules to help you stay on track, building that discipline over time. Another way to build mental toughness is asking yourself the question, how do I handle pressure and failure, right? How do I handle these challenges that hit me, right? When it comes down to pressure, what am I doing to actually get past this, right? Am I running away? Am I giving up and not trying to go after it? Or am I embracing the pressure, embracing the challenge to say, hey, I can get through this. I got to push myself and I can overcome this, right? Think about those elite athletes, right? Think about basketball. Right now, we're in the middle of March Madness, okay? When these basketball players step up to that free throw line, there's only a few seconds left on the clock, right? And all these eyes are on them from the crowd, the coaches, the bench, right? And all the people watching on TV, right? You feel that pressure. I'm assuming they do, right? When you get up to that free throw line, are they running away? Are they giving up? No, they know they have to shoot this free throw. So what are they doing? They're trying to find that inner confidence to say, hey, I can do this, right? They're embracing that challenge. They're embracing that pressure. You have those athletes that go and say, hey, I want the ball in those moments because I know I trust myself. My team trusts me. I can make this shot, right? So you got to have that mental toughness to say, hey, I can embrace that pressure. I can embrace that, hey, what's going on in these tough moments in the game, right? How can I push myself to overcome them? And how can I believe in myself to be able to achieve this? And that same thing comes for us, right? When it comes to a deadline, or maybe you have a job interview for your dream job and it's coming up, right? You understand that you're probably going to be a little bit nervous in front of this because you don't want to mess it up. You want to go and embrace this challenge, right? You want to go and speak clearly, right? So you practice and you gain that confidence to be able to say, hey, this interview is very nerve-wracking. I feel a lot of pressure, but I believe in myself to go into there and say, hey, this job is meant for me. I can do this. And sometimes, guys, you're going to really feel that pressure. You're going to step up to that free throw line. You're going to shoot your shot and you're going to miss, right? Sometimes we're going to take losses. We're going to miss shots, right? All this kind of stuff. But how do you handle that? Right? When you do miss those shots, when you do come up just short, right? How do you handle that? Remember, we talked about the 4 C's. The first one's control. How do you control your emotions, your actions after things don't go right, right? You got to be willing to say, okay, I messed up here, or maybe not even mess up. Maybe just something happened to where this didn't work out, right? This didn't work out. Okay. Oh, well, I'm moving on. How can I get past it next time? Right. What am I doing now to say, hey, that client didn't buy from me? Or, hey, I went to the gym and I wasn't able to progress in my workout yet. Right. How can I handle this challenge? What can I do differently so next time I'm prepared and I can move past it? That's what the great athletes do, right? You've heard of all these NBA players where, hey, they miss a game-winning shot. And after everybody clears out of the arena, all the teams, all the fans, right? Everybody's gone. That athlete's still in the gym shooting that same shot over and over so they don't miss it again. They tell themselves, I'm going to make the next one. That's what we need to do when it comes to our lives, right? Again, when it comes to fitness, right? Maybe you go in there and you're trying to increase your bench, right? You're at 135 pounds right now and you're trying to increase. Well, you get down, you're ready to bench and you're saying, hey, I got to get 12 reps before I can increase. And you go and you only get 5, right? Do you just give up and say, oh, it's never going to happen? No. What do? You start working on it. You keep doing it over and over again. You work that muscle to build it, right? You do other exercises to build the chest, right? And you do everything you can to start progressing, start improving. You understand it's going to take time, but then again, you can come back later on and see, okay, am I able to progress, right? We call this progressive overload when it comes to the gym, right? We want to do it in a safe and smart manner to where we're training properly. We're building that muscle, right? And then we're going to try to increase again later on, right? But that's the idea, right? Continue to do it over and over. Build that muscle, right? And then in a couple of weeks, go back to that bench and say, okay, can I get more than 5 reps? Maybe this time you get 6. Maybe this time you get 10, right? You start to work up, you start to build that muscle to say, hey, now it's progressing, right? And when you see that progress, guys, it builds that confidence. You get more motivation because, hey, you're seeing that progress, you're building results, right? You want to keep going. And that's the idea, guys. So when you have that pressure, you have that failure that hits you, guys, again, failure, right? It's not really a failure. It's just a minor setback, right? When you have those hit your way, right? How do you react? How do you move past that? You keep going, you keep pushing yourself, and eventually you'll be able to move past that and move on to the next challenge. So again, guys, embrace that pressure. Don't let those minor setbacks hold you down, right? How can you overcome them and how can you move past it? And last but not least, guys, focus on the controllables. Now, this is one that I've been really trying to implement in my life more and more, right? For me, it's about building the responsibility to know that if I have control over whatever it may be, I can help determine the results. I can help produce the outcome that I want because I have control. And when I say control, obviously I'm not able to control everything, right? But I understand that if I do have control, right, I can control my effort, I can control my attitude, I can control how I prepare for it, right? I understand that I have control over these things that can help determine the outcome, right? For example, if I'm trying to market my product or, service online, right? I know that I have the control to say, hey, I got to make Instagram posts, I got to make YouTube videos, I got to make all this kind of stuff. I have control over that. And if I don't do it, I'm not going to get the word out there. I'm not going to get all this marketing stuff out there for it, right? So nothing's going to grow if I don't take action and actually start creating the stuff that I need to. I understand that I have control over my physical health, right? What am I doing at the gym? What am I eating, right? I have control to go into the gym and actually do the workout that I need to get done. I have control to actually meal prep and eat the stuff that I need to help build muscle, right? To help lose your body fat, right? If I'm not doing those things correctly, right? I understand that the results are not going to show. And on the other side of things, right? I understand that there are things outside of my control, right? For example, if I'm trying to upload a YouTube video and YouTube shuts down across, the entire world and YouTube servers are down and all this kind of stuff, and I'm not able to upload a video, well, there's nothing I can do about that, right? I got to find other ways to say, hey, where else can I post, right? Can I post on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever it may be, right? What am I doing that, when these external factors come in, right? I'm not going to sit there and complain and try to do all this kind of stuff, right? I understand that that's out of my control. I need to do the things that are in my control to continue to hit my goals. If I know I need to get a workout in today, but the gym is closed because it's a holiday or for whatever reason, right? What can I do? Well, I can do a home workout, right? I can go for a jog, right? I can go to another gym, right? I can find different things that I can do that are in my control and not just sit and complain about the things that are out of my control. And there's actually a great prayer that I like to pray called the Serenity Prayer. And I'm not trying to bring religion into this whatsoever, guys, but I just want you guys to hear the words if you've never have, because I think it's super powerful, right? And it goes as, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference. And for me, guys, when I say these words, right, what I'm trying to say is basically, there's things that are in my control. There are things that aren't, right? And I'm trying to, understand the difference between the two, because if there are things that are in my control, I know that I can change them and I can do the things that are going to produce the outcomes that I want. If there are things that are out of my control, I can't sit there and try to make them in my control because one, it's never going to happen. It's not going to be something that I can change, right? I'm just going to be wasting my time, getting frustrated, all this kind of stuff. If there are things that are outside of my control, I want to push those to the side and I want to focus on the things that are in my control. When those things outside of my control hit my life, right? How can I control my attitude and my reaction to those things, right? That's where we can kind of build that internal responsibility to understand that, hey, there's things that we need to do. And then there's other things that are going to happen, but we can work around them. And to me, guys, that is one of the biggest mental toughness things that we can have, is understanding that, yes, life is not going to go exactly how we want all the time. There's going to be those challenges. There's going to be those setbacks. There's going to be all these different things that come at us, right? But how do we react to it? How can we control our emotions, control our actions to be able to continue to build that mental toughness, build that discipline, and go after our goals? And that is how I truly believe that we can build our mind like an athlete and continue to develop that mental toughness that's going to help us achieve whatever it is that we want in this life. So with that being said, that's what I got for you guys on today's episode. Hopefully you found this episode very beneficial. Again, how to train our mind like an athlete and build mental toughness to help us achieve our goals. With that, I'm gonna leave you guys as I always do. Remember, success isn't just about the money you make or the muscle you build. It's also about the mindset you develop along the way. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Money Muscle Mindset.